large sequence of text. That is how the transformer architecture has come. So these are something like encoder, decoders. We don't go into details of this in this class. So and there is something called an attention mechanism. Finally, I will tell you what it does. So analyzing a sentence or a para, there is a lot of contextual information between the next word and so far what you fed into the system. It is a sequence. So eventually it is a sequence prediction we are doing. Now before I put the next word, I will have to somehow monitor what are all the previous words, what is the attention of each word compared to all other words. That is called the attention mechanism. Depending on that, I will decide what the best word I can pick it from my repository to the future. This is called attention mechanism. The attention mechanism is implemented as a transformer architecture in your LLM. So the implementation part is the transformer, and the attention is what it does is we keep on feeding the strings. So somewhere I will have to predict the next part, what word I should put depending on your previous word. And that is what is called the attention. So what we do is we take every previous word, somehow compute some type of a weight. What is the importance of that weight in the whole conversation? Then depending on that I will predict the next word. So this type of prediction were not available in our earlier what you call the text mining type of models. Most of you would have used what is called a text mining. This text mining, we cannot take this long histories and decide. It just decide some keywords, and based on the
Hello?
keywords we try to classify the documents and all. No, it's a very rough classification. That is the difference between your good old what you call the text mining and the present day architecture, what you call the LLM. LLM has a capability to look backwards your entire string you have set, and what is called an attention mechanism, it computes the weightages of each word in that conversation. What is the contribution of that word to the whole context?
नहीं वही बात है।
Depending on that, it puts the next word. Whereas this type of capability was not there in
नहीं
our earlier
आरे वो
text
नहीं है
mining
सर।
tools, which some of you have used. That is the basic difference. And the implementation is done using a transformer architecture. That is one part of this story. I don't know if some of you have any question, you are welcome to ask. Instead of my going away and this whole talk becoming one direction, I can still give an example. When I went to US for my PhD, I went from ISRO. ISRO gave me study leave. It was not compulsion to take any course for me. I directly registered for my PhD. But still, I sat in the class. That lecturer, no, that lecturer, I think, what is his name? That Paul Schellenberg, he spoke for about 15 minutes. He simply stopped. Then he asked the class, asked 10 questions. None of us were prepared. Some student asked one or two, he left the class. After 15 minutes, the class was over. Next day, he came to the class. He started next chapter. All of us started shouting, sir, what is it? You spoke only 15 minutes, left the classroom. Then what Schellenberg told the class is, since none of you asked any question, you are more intelligent than me. So why do I need me? So I will go to chapter 2. This incidents I still remember, even if it is 35 years back. And one statement he made also, even today I remember. He said, Western education teaches how to question. Your Eastern country education teaches you how to answer. This is the basic philosophy difference between the two education systems. This is the statement he made in the class. Sir, if any questions are there, I think one of you, I think.
Professor, there is a question. I'll be coordinating and moderating. Kumaran, do you want to speak? Then I can allow. You can raise hand and I can allow you to talk. I'm not hearing any response, so I'll read the question. The question is, dear Professor, I want to understand, will LLM change from word by word to sentence or phrase, is the nearest neighbor also located based on word encoding? Will it change to phrase or sentence in the future? Will this not be sufficient? This is a question by Mr. Kumaran Mani.
What he is telling? Next sentence.
He is asking, dear professor, I want to understand, will LLM change from word by word to sentence or phrase? Is the nearest neighbor also located based on word encoding? Then his third question is, will it change to phrase or sentence in the future? Will that be not sufficient?
No. What happens? I think there is something called the embedding what we do. So sometimes you embed at the sentence level, sometimes you embed at the paragraph level, sometimes we embed at the word level. That depends on the application. I think Aditya mentioned that Intellect CI lab what he mentioned. There the objective was trying to build an LM for our legal system. So the legal documents are very large. For them 2000 pages, 3000 pages is nothing. They say no sir, sometimes our case runs into 10,000 pages, 15,000 pages. There we cannot use this word embedding. No, LLM will collapse. So what we do in those applications, we embed it at mostly at a paragraph level or a sentence level. So when you embed it, the embedding vector remains the size. That size remains fixed. So sometimes what you do, if you choose a wrong embedding, what happens is your response to the query will become little bit what they call something like a junk. A hallucination is what they call. Then one rule of thumb is you have done a wrong embedding. Either this application requires embedding at the sentence level, whereas you have done it at a page level or a paragraph level. Then change the embedding, it works.
Okay. The next question is by Saurav, and he is asking, how do we handle hallucinations in case of generative models?
I will come to that. I think I wanted to keep it towards the end. Since somebody has asked it, I can answer now itself. We don't have to wait until the end. Now, one simple thing that comes to all of us our mind is, most of these LLMs, whether you take Chat GPT, Claude, Gemini, Entropy, whatever it is, they are all trained on a huge corpus of Western type of data. Nothing much is trained on the Indian data. So what is happening is, what is the knowledge we stored? The knowledge we stored is basically what it could pick up and what we could train. And that knowledge may not be enough to answer either my Indian domain type of query, or particularly we did not train it on that. So one thing that has come out in all these 6 months or 7 months of these LLM coming into forelight is, if that is the case, that's what the government is also telling. Let us develop a foundation model for my own country and my own domain, then your hallucination will go down. See, because whatever that huge LLMs were trained, since it is not relevant to my knowledge, what is the point in sending the query to this 300 billion parameter, 112 billion parameter model? Because what is happening, the knowledge is stored in the form of weights. Since that knowledge is useless, whatever close response it can give, it will dump it on the screen, That's what you will get. So this fine-tuning, pre-training, I will touch it towards the end of this talk. So the basic, I think the basic thing that all of us have realized is, let us develop a foundation model for our own application. Then we don't need this 200 billion, 300, no, we don't need. We should be very happy with the 10 billion to 20 billion parameters. Let us train, and our knowledge now sits in this 20 billion parameter, not your 200. Two advantages you will get. Your computing cost will come down. We are not going to send everything to the backend in the form of an API and generate thousands of APIs and pay for it. The second one is we should be able to run the LLM on my own local server so that the data will not leave your premises. I think that is what the government direction also. They are encouraging to build foundation models domain wise. For example, health, Indian knowledge system, legal system, financial system, SEBI, regulators, income tax. Obviously, US income tax rules are totally different from my country income tax rules, and if that income tax expert sit in front of LLM and puts a query, obviously what response you will get, sir? Where is it different? Customs. That's what they are doing now. So the general learning from these 6 months or 8 months is we do not need these large models trained across thousands of domains without too much of a depth. There is some depth. I'm not telling it is a zero. It may not be exactly what you want. So the trend in the next 1.5 years will be we will be developing our own foundation model domain wise, train the model, and it gives the answer, and we retrain the model again when something wrong we feel, because the whole thing is in my control. And for your information, none of these ChatGPT or Claude or Entropy, he has not disclosed this network. See where he has disclosed. He is telling this is 300 billion parameter, that is 200 billion 100. But how many encoders he has put, how many decoders he has put, what is the transfer function he has used in training those decoders, what is the corpus he took? No, they have not disclosed. Who has disclosed? We are using them, that is a different story. But if we have to implement this AI in my country, we don't have much choice than developing a foundation model domain-wise, where we train our own country data using a small language model which will meet the requirement.
Okay, thank you, Professor. Then there is the next question by Sushant. He is asking, is the attention mechanism create hallucinations to the LLM model?
No, that is one part of the story. Then what is happening when you send a query to the LLM, there are some default parameters which LLM has already set. For example, temperature, there is something called a chunk size. Whether we will encode this at word level or sentence level or paragraph level. So there are 3-4 parameters that are there. So what happens is, if you go to API level, you will be able to change the default temperature is some 0.5 or 0.6. That is what most of the LLM use. This 0.5, 0.6 is majoritively for creative type of writing. You see, that is not focused for your pointed answers. Now reduce the temperature, sir. You bring it to 0.2, you see the hallucination vanishes. Chunk size. So it is very sensitive to the chunk size, because when I break your document, somewhere it breaks in the middle if your chunk size is less. So the second advice for you is to get over this hallucination right now till we build our own foundation model. Is there are 4-5 important parameters for the LLM. Now when you simply put a query, since you have not changed those parameters, it will assume the default parameters and you will get the response. Now those default parameters may not be what you need. So these are the 3 important ones I have told. One is what is called a temperature. The second one is what is called a chunk size. The third one is what is called the top K. It will take, the K is some 10 I think in default. I think 15 in some of the LLMs. That means it will take the top 15 or 16 closest responses it gets from the back end. Now unfortunately what may happen, one of your important response may be located in some page number 45 assume. Then as an example I am giving, now this LLM, what he did, it read only 10 pages. Let us go like this. There is a book I have given you. It is a 100 pages book. Now unfortunately for this query, since you did not play around these parameters, whatever I could get from the 10 pages, I summarized and gave it to you. But unfortunately in your case, what happened, there was some information sitting in page number 45, there was some information sitting in page number 50, there was some information sitting in page number 75. Since my task had truncated it at 10 or 15, we did not even go for this 75, 85, 42. Obviously, you will get hallucinate. So now what has to be done? I will give a solution for that. For this, you have to integrate our retrieval augmented generation with a graph-based network. That is the only solution for this. And then tune these parameters. First level you do this because incorporating a graph thing into RAG, it requires some type of a technical expertise. Business users will not be able to do it. It is little tough. So business user, what they can do, you first time you tune these LLM parameters. That is the first part. Then implement RAG. That is the second part. Next level. If both of them do not work and still you start getting these hallucinations, then you don't have much choice than to put that graph-based network also. So what happens, some part of the knowledge will be picked up from your graph database, some part of the knowledge will be picked up from your RAG, some part of the network knowledge will be picked up from your trained network. All the three knowledges will be incorporated, then the query get answered.
Okay, I think we will take the rest set of questions, after half an hour maybe. Professor, I would want you to go back to whatever you were, speaking.
I think some of it are clear, at least they understood, I suppose. Gave some...
Yeah, I also hope so. And I would request everyone to please put your questions in the Q&A box. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult for me to, see in the chat, because there's a lot of comment getting posted. It is going to miss out. So I'd request everyone to please put your questions in the Q&A box. We will take it after 11:30. Professor, back to you.
And another piece of advice is, even though LLMs query, you can do it in a natural language, it may look deceptively simple, as many of them raised this hallucination and all. To build any meaningful, I think, LLM or foundation model, it requires both the expertise. You need a domain expertise as well as a technical expertise. So your team should have both. I think if somebody attempts based on that natural language answers only, no, we don't need any technical person. We ourselves can manage the show. I don't need technical person. Let me develop a foundation model or do some query and implement this LLM. No. You are going to fail after some time or the other. So the second message I am trying to tell for all these participants is, when you are trying to build a production type of AI implementation, which is different from your proof of concept or something, apart from this domain knowledge, domain expert in the team, you need a technical expert. Because this tuning the LLM, training the LLM, there is something called reinforced learning with human feedback and all. Unless you have some technical person also there in the team, I think only with domain expertise it will be a little bit tough. Because there are a lot of these technical parameters that come into play. If you go haywire and set up the wrong parameters, you will never get your expected answers. And finally, the expectation for the LLM, it will come down for no fault of the product. Unnecessarily, we start blaming the product. It is not working like that. It is not working because you did not understand how it is fully working, So we cannot blame that. That is another piece of advice for all those who are attending this event. Shall we continue?
Yes, we should.
Okay. So this screen share, let me see. Will show. They are able to see my screen now?
Yes, Professor. Yes, I mean the screen is visible now.
I'll just show one or two PPTs. We will break for some 5 minutes, then I will continue. Then I will show some actual data, what results we got from that. That I will continue. Some background has to be given. That is why, since many from different backgrounds are attending. Most of these I will send it to you. There are a lot of these PPTs, LLM architecture, which is written for a common person is here. That I will just send it. First I will show one or two slides. I will close this. I am not going to show all these slides. I just thought there are some basic slides which I have created for all of you. What is an LLM? What is rule-based LLM? Core idea, very simple. What is this? Some of them they were asking this. Embeddings, how does it do? It may not be to that detail what I spoke. This is what I told in the beginning. Then I will have to make this PPT some 200 slides, 100 slides, and all which I have not done. That's why I said I don't stick to them. And then next token prediction, that is what he was asking. Another thing is there is something called a pre-training. So in pre-training, what we do is we do not give labeled data. We don't give any input response, we do not give. We give only the input. Then what this LLM does is, it learns the language structure. Something like English, verb, preposition, conjunction, transitive verb, pronoun, noun, all this is there. So there is a structure in the sentence. When you put a noun in front of the noun, something is supposed to come. That is what you call the structure of the language. That is what it learns in what we call the pre-training. So during pre-training, we give millions of documents for this. Because on one or two documents, it will not be able to understand the language itself. So even if you learn English, by reading that third standard English, you cannot become an expert in English. So you will have to keep on reading English book again and again. 6th standard, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. Like that we also learn. So same thing happens here. So this is called pre-training. So in pre-training, what we do, there is only an input. There is a decoder and the encoder. And somehow it picks up the structure, what we call the semantics of the language is what it picks up. Because the same thing, the same information can be put in different words, different synonym words by different persons. But the semantic meaning remains the same. So that is what it picks up in what you call the pre-training. Then after pre-training, there is something called fine-tuning. So in fine-tuning, what we do, we try to refine this knowledge. We give what is called an input and the expected response. That is what we give during what we call the pre-training, so that that machine gets trained to somewhat your local environment. That is called pre-training. Then in pre-training, there are two things. One is called performance-based pre-training, and the other one is called reinforced learning with the human loop. These are the two ways in which we somehow try to adjust this LLM to my environment. These are the two things. So that is how finally we hope that this hallucination will get reduced. That is what it is. performance-based pre-training, what we do is we do not use all these 100 billion parameters. We do not retrain those 100 billion. What we do is we take these additional weight and then train it. That is what is called the fine-tuning. So there is no, these are very important concepts. That is why most of the, even my own students when I teach, they get lost. Sir, what is this? We don't know what is this pre-training, fine-tuning. All these concepts are getting mixed up like that. That is why I gave these concepts. It is clear for all. And in our own country, the foundation model, we have those three big startups that have built. One is that Sarvam.ai, then another one is Gyan, the third one is another. So they are building the foundation model for our own languages. One is the Indian languages, and there are many Indian languages do not have a script. They have only a voice, what we call a dialect. So they use, if you take Karnataka, we have Konkani, we have Kurg language, we have Tulu, there is one more. But what happens is they use Kannada to write. Whereas while speaking, no, they don't use Kannada words. They may use in their own language. So how do you build foundation model for them? Your chat GPT will not build all these things. This is what Sarvam has done. That Gyan AI is also another one. They are focusing on a little bit thing. Maybe probably you will get all these LLMs, you can fine tune them in another 3 months or 4 months. They are building the foundation model. That means the pre-training they are doing here only in my country, on our country data. That's what I was telling you. Now using that performance-based fine-tuning, you can fine-tune those pre-trained model. Take a pre-trained model from Sarvam or Gyan or one more, I am forgetting the startup name. These three. Another one is working basically in images area, generating images. So that you can take, you can pre-tune it, pre-train it, then that will reduce your hallucination to a large extent, because they are trained on my Indian country data, not something else, and they are very small models. You can run it on a server itself. You don't need these LLMs, huge LLMs and all, or GPUs and other things.
Excuse me, Professor.
Yes.
Can you put your slide in full screen mode, slideshow mode?
No. These I will circulate, sir. I have covered a lot. Oh, again, I don't want to get back to this slide. Oh, it will throw me back.
No, I'm saying, can you put it in slideshow mode?
Huh?
Full screen.
Slideshow.
Yeah.
Adi, you have to probably help him with the option which is in the bottom.
No, I am not getting here. I am seeing only layout, annotate, show webinar, more.
Sir, can you try clicking on Shift F5 on the PPT?
Shift. I think slide and all, why should we worry?
Oh.
Knowledge is more important, sir. What is
Fair
this?
enough,
This
fair
stuff?
enough. Okay, please continue.
Oh, no. Then they start reading all of them, and this seminar will eventually land at 3 o'clock then.
Okay, sir, please continue.
So my screen they are able to see?
Now your screen is not visible, sir.
Aditya Tripathi, that screen is there. Share. Now whose screen is visible?
Your screen is visible, sir.
Okay. These PPTs we will circulate. You don't worry. There are a lot of PPTs. All of them. Some of them I will select and then send it to them. There is no issue. Shall we start again?
Yes, we can.
Okay, okay. Then after another 2-3 minutes, I will break for some 5 minutes or 10 minutes. We will reassemble so that after this session, we will go through some of the data what I took. How did we build the that rating transition or the forward-looking credit rating model. So I will show it for the corporate lending where we have that initial rating that A plus, A minus, B minus, etc. etc. Then suddenly it goes for a downturn. That is one. And there is a retail loan also here. That retail loan I may not be able to cover today. What we will do, we will do it at some other time. So that basically tells how do we incorporate this email correspondence. There is lot of voice correspondence that takes place between the call center and the person who has taken the loan. How do we identify the tone of his conversation and use these additional data apart from his credit score, income, loan to value, the duration, interest rate, etc. etc. They are all very well known. So how much prediction accuracy we can increase by incorporating this information? I think that we will take it in a separate thing. I will not be able to. I just told that these are the two main areas where I have worked. And for this rating transition, some sort of patent also we have obtained. So whatever information I can disclose, I will definitely disclose because they told this type of work was not done earlier like that. We will break for about 5 minutes. What is your preference? Tell. They can also tell. Then I will show that actual data. What did we do? How did we analyze? Those things I will show. There is some Excel file. So Excel file is the data. Then that sentiment and all has been run in the background. I will not be able to run it in real time here. So, but I know the values. Then we will tell them how did we predict the rating transition for next 6 months ahead. Given the rating is BB minus or AA plus, some AA minus for the last 3 years. How did we predict it for the next 6 months and compared to the actual rating which was available because we did not take that last 1 year of rating into model building.
I think we can continue, Professor, the session.
We can continue, is it?
Yes, yes, we can.
Then there is no issue. Okay. Just I will show 1 or 2 PPTs. Then I will speak itself because that will be. So this one is what you are telling, is it? How to make it full screen?
Actually, can you go to the extreme right corner in the bottom?
Yes.
There are 4 icons. Just click on the 4th one.
Show webinar.
No. If you see the screen on the extreme right corner, there is notes and then there are 4 different icons. You have to click on the 4th icon.
This one.
No. A little above that, not the taskbar, just above the taskbar where there is, I think it is showing 59%. Before that 59%, there is an icon.
No, I am not seeing here. 59%.
Okay. Can I help you with this, Professor? Can you check the menu on the top? You see an option called slideshow. On the top menu bar, yes.
There is no new slideshow.
No. Where you see file, home, WPS, PDF and all, right? So in that menu on the right, you see something called slideshow.
Slideshow.
Yes. So click on from current slide.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
where is that one now? It went off. It has gone back to your screen. Some Aditya yellow dot dot dot.
We are able to see your screen, your slide.
Huh? No, the PPT I am telling.
Yeah, we are able to see your PPT.
But I am not able to see.
Okay.
Now it has come. Okay. From rating logic I have put here. What happens is rating agencies, most of them, yes, they rely on judgment. That is fine. There is no problem in that. What we are trying to do is, now there are some 2-3 issues that are there with this. So they, most of them, they wait for the audited balance sheet to come, which takes quite an amount of time between what is happening and what is likely to happen. And all of us know the volatility has increased. That is because of this internet, the rate at which information is flowing. There is an integration across the world. So what is happening is this information is flowing very fast, and that flow of information is actually adjusting your, it is overtaking your other financial parameters and other things. So what it means is the upgrade or downgrade, there is a lag in time between the rating agencies do the upgrade and the rating agencies do the downgrade. Then actually, when actually the downgrade happened, that is what it is. That is the first thing which we are trying to overcome and try to predict it as an early warning system. The other thing is, we are not telling this will replace the rating agencies. No. That is not our agency. That is not our objective at all. The objectivity, it is something like an early warning. You please use it and use your own information to actually rate it. That is the first part. The second part is, there are some private information which is available only to the rating agencies. They are not available for the in the public. Like, who are his suppliers, who are his top 3 competitors, what is their strategy, etc. for the next year. What happens is, this type of information is available only for the rating agencies when they actually go meet the top management, gather this information. That is not publicly available to us. To us means, to us are not publicly available. So what is happening, since part of the information is not available, so your accuracy of the model can never become 100 or cross 90 because there is some information which I could not get at all. So that is one reason. So don't expect that our early warning system will come out with some 95, 94, 93% accuracy. Can it come? No. The answer is no. Even before using this unstructured data, our model was giving only about 55 to 60% accuracy only. Now, after incorporating these unstructured data, extracting sentiment, combining the sentiment, and then combining the news values, we have reached 80. So beyond 80, I don't know, it may still be incremental only. Maximum I can go is maybe some 85 or 86. It will never be, I don't think it will cross 90 because some information, it is not in the public domain. Like, who are his suppliers, what is his rating, which country, there is something called the strategic plan which they will keep themselves, what they will do in 1 year or what they will do 2 years. Partly it is available in the CEO's report, in the annual report, but that is very vague. It is not to the depth which is required to increase the model accuracy. That much information is not available there. So these are the 3 limitations why our model at best can reach an upper limit of 85 or something. 85 is good enough. That is the first benefit you are getting from this work. The second benefit is what benefit we get is, suppose a company is not rated at all. It is not mandatory in my country to get the rating. So if the company is not rated at all, then instead of then approximately I am able to give a rating. Suppose he approaches a rating agency, what is the approximate rating he is likely to get? So that is the second benefit. Then we can advise him, okay, increase this ratio or reduce this ratio. So if you increase this financial ratio by X%, how much your predicted rating will move up. That advice can be given. That is the second benefit which this work, with this research work is giving. An unrated company, instead of blindly going, they can use this solution and then approximately get a rating. It may be one level down or one level up. That is what our study reveals. Maximum actual rating may be BB minus. That unrated company may get some BB or BB one level down or two level down or one level up. So he will not get D or he will not get C or he will never go to this A cluster at all. So that is the accuracy we are able to give. That is another benefit he will be getting from this. Let me go to next one or two slides. Then I will go back and then show the data itself. I don't know, these slides are not moving at all. And some of these slides, okay. Where GenAI maps to the rating system what I have put in these slides. These are about some 15 or 16 slides. I will pass on to you so that you can go through them. We have mapped where GenAI is helping in prediction. That is what these slides are, what I am showing. These are those slides. So what I have done is there is a rating process currently followed. We have taken 3 rating agencies. One is CRISIL, the second one is ICRA. I think the third one is Brickworks or something. The fourth one is also their India rating or something. So these are the 4 rating agencies, because some companies rated by CRISIL are not rated by ICRA. Something rated by ICRA is not rated by CRISIL. So what we did is, for our work, just to make sure that this type of prediction works across the rating agencies, we have taken samples from different rating agencies to just to check the stability of the work instead of taking only one. This is what you read this second line. That is the purpose. Not replace them. Don't be worried that sir has developed some tool or solution. All of us will lose our jobs. No, you will not lose our jobs. Instead of rating 100 companies in a quarter, I think you should be able, your productivity should go up. That's how we look at it. So instead of rating 100, you may rate 150 or 200. 200 I don't know. At least 150 you should be able to use. Like that we will use it. Not that it will throw you out and you will all lose your job. No, no, no. That is not the intention of this work at all. No, we never wanted that way. I think I will close this one. These PPTs we will circulate. Huh? Just a minute. ಹಾಕಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳಿ.
We're really sorry, everyone. I think Professor has some things, so he has just stepped out. Please bear with us, is my sincere request. And in the meanwhile, I'm sharing the Discord community link. You're audible, Professor.
Okay. Then the other lesson we learned from this is all these finance classes, we cover a lot of these ratios. Particularly for the rating, we specifically focus on debt service coverage ratio, interest cover ratio, free cash flow to net worth, operating profit margin, etc. etc. That is what mainly we focus. But unfortunately, our study reveals that most of these ratios, they are somewhat not the textbook ratios. For example, CRISIL has modified the DSCR. So the textbook definition of CSIR is one, whereas your CRISIL definition is another. Then how they evaluate the revaluation of reserves. So each rating agency is doing in his own way. Then there is the definition of the debt itself. Some part somebody is removing, some part they are adding. The third one is what you call this goodwill. How do we consider this goodwill? So the goodwill in the textbook we take it in one way, whereas all the three rating agencies in one or two ratios, yes, both of them are taking the same numerator and the denominator. In some other ratio, no, it is little bit different. For example, in the DSCR itself, this CRISIL takes some 20% of the change in the net cash flow that has to come from internal accruals like that. Whereas that is not what your textbook teaches, and whereas your brickwork is doing in a different way. So particularly, if you simply take these textbook definitions and try to build a model, no, you will not get 80. Again, you will end up with 65 only, because you did not bother to find out what he is using. Simply, DSCR is still DSCR. But the textbook definition of DSCR is little bit different from what these three rating agencies have taken. Goodwill, the other one. Free cash flow, again somebody is reducing, somebody is increasing, and they will say no, this much has to flow back to your capital expansion. All those are there. So don't take blindly your textbook definition. So for our study, we took these ratios and financial data from the Proves database, and then again Proves did some other modifications. So finally what we did was we went to that raw data which is used to calculate the ratios, and we followed, if that particular rating agency is followed by CRISIL, we followed CRISIL definition of those ratios, rather than neither we took Proves ratio nor we took our textbook ratios. That is another difference that made, and it contributes to the accuracy also a lot. No, there is a big difference. That is another one caution which I am trying to tell. Don't simply go by these textbook ratios and then take them and then do it. That is the one. The second one was we tried to build a rating transition model for all the companies. For all the companies means we did not do it by industry wise or company wise. No. Again we failed. No. That what it used to happen was the actual prediction is BB minus. We used to land in C. Sometimes it used to go to default, and C used to go to A. So that is so what we did was the second lesson we learned is we should do it company wise. We are not able to find a general model. You dump all these 20,000, 30,000 company data rated by these rating agencies and then give their rating for the last 3 years or 4 years, and you try to predict the rating. No, you will not predict. Your misclassification will be very high. Your misclassification itself will become 70% instead of the other way. So the second lesson is we did it by company wise later on. That is the another message. They may not be, since I am not showing the PPTs, I am only telling. Most of them are in the PPTs. since I'm not going through PPTs and it takes more time for me, I am just orally telling what did we learn. So don't take those textbook ratios directly and then use them, change them. Then don't try to build a model taking all that 30,000, 20,000, whatever is rated by Crizilla, ICRA or whoever it is, and try to build a single model. No, it did not work. And even industry wise also, within the industry also, there were so much differences, it did not work. So finally the study reveals that we do it company wise. There is no single model I have built for all the companies. So you just give the company input, it will predict. No, it is not there. It did not work. That is the second message I am trying to give. So what I will do, I will show some input data to you. I will open one Excel sheet and then show some input.
Professor, can we take a short break? As in, there are a
Ah,
bunch of question and answer. There are a bunch of questions. I think we can address 3, 4 questions and then go to the Excel sheet which you want to show.
okay, please let us start
Okay,
this
so,
previous session.
so the first question is by Anushrut Mohanty, and he is asking, in the financial field, how do we avoid the mistake of overfitting data when building prediction models? This is an issue with current non-AI machine learning models. I'll repeat the
No,
question.
wait. Let me answer this question. See,
Okay.
I am handling corporate rating. So just now I said we have to build company wise. That is our lesson. We did not build the some models for the pharma sector. One type of model for the infrastructure. One type for the auto. No. Auto sector may have some 100 companies or 70 companies. All the 70 companies may be rated. That is what I told. It fails. It is not going to work.
Okay. The next question is by Anant Seth, and he is asking, sentiment conjecture is bound to be subjective. Can subjective inference be the basis, or should it be objective appraisal?
Ah, there are two issues that we can do. The present day LLMs, since they are trained on large corpus of data, it would have come from several sources, reasonably compared to what he is talking, whatever other technology or tools that were available maybe 2 years back or 3 years back, they are quite fair. It's not too much out. So what we did was, I will tell you, when we extracted the sentiment from different sections of the balance sheet, annual report, not the balance sheet. So what we did was randomly, we did not disclose the sentiment I extracted from the machine. We did not. Then they were read by our finance faculty. For three, four of them, they were given the same data, and manually they went through and then gave the sentiment. So more or less, with some, in worst case was only 10% error. It is all right. So the technology, the LLM technology is fairly able to give a good sentiment. Manually we could not do for all these 400 companies. It's a massive work. So randomly we did some random sampling, and then the same data was given to, you can call them 5 experts like that. So these 5 experts, without looking into the machine, they did not use any machine. They gave a sentiment on a -1 to +1 scale. Then we compared it with the machine sentiment also.
Okay. Then the next question is by Saurav, and he is asking, could you provide few examples of Gen AI powered risk assessments, product slash solutions which have crossed from POC to production? Should I repeat?
Ah.
Saurav is asking, could you provide few examples of Gen AI powered risk assessments, product or solutions which have crossed from POC to production?
Huh. POC to production, what has happened is, you remember, we have these 3, 4 big consultants like Infosys, and then our Wipro, and then HCL Technologies. What they are doing is, they have developed it in-house for their customers. See, they are going to use it for their customers. I am not very sure whether they have been hosted on the cloud and they are allowing everybody to use. For example, Citibank has its own. then Infosys is developing their own for their customers. So that is what my knowledge is. It has not come to the public domain like an MS Word or a PPT where you download the software and then start using. That I have not heard.
Okay, I think, Professor, we can get back to your presentation, as in your talk. You were going to show some Excel sheet, you were saying.
Some 5 minutes break we will have.
Okay, we can take a 5 minutes break.
I will come back. Just I'll be back
Okay.
and take some water and then come back. That's all.
Okay. So in the meanwhile, I'll request our audience. I have shared the link to join
Ah,
in next AI Pathshala, which we'll be conducting in February. So I'm sharing the link. I would request whoever is interested. The topic is interesting. Code to Cure: How AI is re-engineering health and re-engineering health research and development. The link is live. Please register. This will be in February, so you can attend the webinar. And I have already shared the correct Discord link. So whoever wants to join the Discord link, please click on the link. I'm sharing it again for ACE, and you can connect with our developers community through Discord today. Also, dear audience, a quick announcement. We have a short survey which we do every session. It would be great if you can fill in the survey. It will take 2 minutes maximum, but it will be immensely helpful for us to, curate much better sessions for you in the future. So, since we are having a break, I would request everyone to please fill in the form during this break. Also, our social media pages are quite exciting. We would request you to follow us there. We update every day with interesting stories and events and initiatives which we have in pipeline for 2026. Definitely a page to check is our YouTube page. We have launched a new podcast series. So you would love that podcast series which we have launched. So go to our YouTube page and check out all the interesting videos which we have. Safika, to answer your question regarding this video, yes, the best way is to follow us on our social media page. We will be definitely uploading this video, in a couple of weeks. So if you subscribe, you will get a notification. Okay, Professor is back. Uh, Professor Chandrasekhar, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, we can resume the session.
Okay.
मैं
Okay.
सच बोल रहा हूँ, मैंने सिर्फ 10,000 रुपए दिए
Definitely.
मैं अभी प्रॉपर्टी में इन्वेस्टमेंट किया है। 10,000 रुपए सिर्फ फोन मिलेगा प्रॉपर्टी नहीं। और डीआरएफ पे होता है सिर्फ 1 स्क्वायर फुट से शुरू किया। सिर्फ 1 स्क्वायर फुट इन्वेस्टमेंट छोटा है पर सोच
In the meanwhile, I'll request everyone to please put your questions in the Q&A box. We will take it up towards the end. So please drop your queries in the Q&A box, please.
एक अच्छी इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसी एआई से पूछते हैं। एक ऐसी पॉलिसी जिसमें प्रीमियम पेमेंट होते रहे पर इनकम आती रहे लाइफ टाइम। एलआईसी का जीवन उत्सव। एक ऐसी पॉलिसी जो दे होल लाइफ इंश्योरेंस कवर भी। एलआईसी का जीवन उत्सव। वाओ, चलो तो एलआईसी की जीवन उत्सव पॉलिसी ही लेते हैं।
मैं भी तुमसे यही कह रही थी, एलआईसी का जीवन उत्सव।
लाइफ टाइम सेलिब्रेशन मनाइए एलआईसी के जीवन उत्सव के साथ। फ्यूचर सेट है।
हे भगवान, रेल लाइन पर चलने वाले शहर की लाइफ लाइन को स्वच्छ करना।
मैडम जी आपको क्या लगता है क्या इससे सेफ्टी बढ़ी होगी? असली सुरक्षा के लिए सिर्फ ये नजर यंत्र हाईटेक टाइसर, तभी जब चारों तरफ से सुरक्षा मिलेगी तब हर बुरी नजर दूर रहेगी। हाईटेक टाइस आओ बनाए नया भारत।
Shall I continue?
Yes,
Hello?
please continue. Yes, please continue.
The screen, all of them are able to see my screen.
Yeah, your screen is visible.
This is only a sample I am showing. This company is India Cements. Then we have this data patterns, Aster Healthcare, that Lakshmi Organic. This is for your just demo I took pulled out from that 400 which you analyze. There is something called Anupam Rasayan. So what we have done is we have taken 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 and 20. The 21 and 22 for the time being I have avoided because they were the COVID years. So all of these financial data, I think they went for a toss, some of them. So this model for the time being, what we are trying to do is we are trying to predict this 2020 ratings, which is already known to us. Some of them are not known, so probably we are predicting these 2019 ratings based on these 3 years, this 18, 17 and then 16. You know the ratings of them. Then these are the financial ratios. We have this gearing ratio 2011, 2012, 2013. Then we have the debt service coverage ratio. Then we have interest cover ratio, the operating profit margin to net worth. So we started with some 20 or around 20 financial ratios. Starting from these 20, we found that there is a correlation, there is some overlap of information. So what we did was we finally reduced it to 10, 10 ratios, particularly for the rating transition. For your demo purposes, I have taken only 5, which is still more important out of that 9. That is what has happened. So we have these financial ratios also for all these years. If you are predicting for 2019 rating, we have all these ratios, this gearing ratio, debt service coverage ratio, interest cover ratio, free cash flow to sales, all the revenue. If you want, you can call it revenue. So free cash flow is very important because that is what you are left after spending all the things. Then the operating profit margin is another parameter we have taken. Debt to net worth, that is another one. So like this we ended with that 9. With that 9 for your demo I have taken 5. I will show you in that report what did we attain. So this is in the Excel file. Now let us come back to that our text part. What text data we have taken? I have taken 3 years annual report for your demo. That is 2019, 2018 and then 2017. Now from these annual reports, there are different sections in the annual report. So one section is that CEO's outlook is one section. The second section we have extracted is management analysis and discussion, what we call the M&A. The third one is the auditor's report from those balance sheet, because from these annual reports we did not take the financial ratios. We took it from Proves and then we worked out on our own as per the rating agency, because we don't know what it is put here. So we did not, even though ratios some of them are available here, but all were not available, so we did not take it. So basically from these annual reports we have taken that CEO's message, or somewhere it is called CEO's outlook, or sometimes they call chairman's message, managing director's outlook. That is one part. The second part is management discussion and analysis, where the entire board gives their opinion. That is the second section from the annual report. That means from the PDF file we extracted all those sections using LLM. We did not write our code. Then the third one is the auditor's report. There is something called the independent director's report also we put along with that. This is the structure of the balance sheet, this is the structure of the annual report after some 2017 or 16. Because if you go before that, the structure was not there. It was all messed up, and different companies were giving different titles. So we found it little difficult and thought that last 3 years of your annual report should give a clue to what they are talking about. So that is why we have taken only 3. One reason is the structure was not there, titles were different, and some 2-3 sections of these annual report were merged there and then shown as a single section called CEO's outlook. There was nothing called management discussion analysis. So separating that became tough for us. So we did not go, I think, beyond 2016. That 14, 12, 10, 9 in and all, every fellow was putting in a different format. So that's why we did not take. And the auditor's report, then annexures to the auditor. That is another one we took. Then the next one is the risk management committee report. At the board level, there is a risk management committee, and the last one is the environment, what we call the ESG. In some reports ESG was available, in some reports ESG was not available. So anyway, wherever it was available we took, because we are doing it company wise. We are not, that's what I answered earlier also. Since we are not building a single model combining 30 companies or 40 companies, if something is available or not, if it is available he gets a weight. If it is not available, he is not going to get a weight. So that way it will not affect your other company. That is what it is. I will just show one annual report. I will just show one PDF file, and it this is how it came. They are fairly big. They are all 200 pages, 300 pages, 250 pages. From from that we extracted all this. Like this it comes. So these sections is what we put. There are so many of these unwanted information, we did not pass all of them. It will take a lot of time. That's why. Director's report was taken. Then there is something called management analysis and discussion is there. That also we took. Then the CEO's outlook was there in some of them, wherever was there, it was taken. So this is our input. Apart from those ratios, what I have shown you in that Excel sheet. In that Excel sheet I showed 2-3 ratios. No, that Excel sheet is quite big. There are about 23 or 24 of them. I did not simply scan all of them. So out of which we took about 9. In that 9, for my report I will show you about 3 or 4. because even that 3 or 4 gave us good prediction. That's why. This is how we have taken. There is a structure in this, that 18, 19, 20. It is the same thing. That's what we took, and they are the sections which we extracted from the balance sheet. Now, what we did was we took the scorecard based approach. So the approach we followed is we gave 60% of the weightage for these financial ratios of the last 3 years. 60%. Then 40% of the weightage was given to the sentiment extracted from these, I think, 5 sections or 6 sections of the annual report. That is the basic framework in which we have worked. Now, the 60-40 is not uniform across industries. For example, pharma sector, we found 50-50 works. That is 50 for the financial ratios weight, and then 50 for the information or sentiment, whatever you want to call it, extracted from the annual report. For the time being, we have not taken any banking sector, because banking sector, the balance sheet itself is different, and they have all that current account to saving account ratio, then in net interest margin. These are not there in your manufacturing. So the work is basically on the manufacturing companies, not service. And if you take the banking sector, we have other issues like whether they have implemented Basel 3, Basel 4 or Basel 5, whether it is foundation model or advanced internal models. So it is totally different from the manufacturing sector. So we did not take those banking. IT also, what happened is most of the staff revenue comes from US country alone. It is one country, and then again our internal revenue was very less. So for the time being, we have excluded that IT companies also. So IT and banking we have not taken. We have taken pharma, manufacturing, auto sector, FMCG. That is where the focus of this work is. So these three, we have done 60% of the weight was given to financial ratios. Then within that 60% weight, we have given a weightage. How much weight should be for DSCR, debt service coverage ratio? How much weightage should be given to interest cover ratio? How much weightage should be given to free cash flow to net worth? How much weightage should be given to intangibles? That is another level. So if you add up all these weights, you will get 60%. Then 60, weight is 60. Then for the news part, we have taken 40. Now this 40 new weight is distributed across 5 sections of the annual report which we have extracted. CEO's outlook, auditor's report, ESG, management discussion and analysis, risk management committee report. Now, these weights are also not constant for all the industries. That is what our research thinks. It varies. Pharma, you have to give a different weight. And then for cement sector, it will be different. For steel, it will be different. Auto, it became different. Even though the difference was 5 marks or 4 marks, in the prediction, no, it was contributing a lot. Initially, we also thought, what is this 4, 5? We ran it. No. Then for one company in one sector, it was working the same set of weights. Did not work for the pharma sector at all. And what was working for pharma did not work for FMCG. Then what we did was, again we started reworking. So even though still the study is going on, hope we have plans to scale it up to about some 4,000 or 5,000 companies in the next 3 months. Probably maybe in my next class I will be able to give a better picture of what weights we landed depending on the company. That is one output, one study, one thing which we studied. So 60-40, don't take it for granted that I will apply this 60-40 across all the sectors. No, it will not work. Pharma is different, FMCG is different, manufacturing is different, infrastructure is different. Your oil sector we did not do. That's because oil sector is a highly regulated sector. So we did not want to get into this. So oil sector we have not touched. Your BPCL, IOC, those things we have not done. Manufacturing, yes, we have done. That is another thing I wanted to tell you. Now, how did we combine? Since we do not have time, orally I will tell. So, what we did was, we have these financial ratios for the last 4 years, those 5 ratios. We used that exponentially weighted moving average to combine these 4 ratios. So, debt service coverage ratio 2019, 2018, 2017, and 2016. I have 4 ratios, you know. This is something like a scorecard. I have to get a combined value for all these 4 to predict. So what we did was, one simple thing is, we took the median value first. That median value did not work properly. So what we did was, we used that exponentially weighted moving average. I think that parameter became some 0.94 or 0.93. Again, this exponentially weighted parameter changes across the industry. It may not be same 0.9 for your auto sector. No, it is not. So outwardly it may look deceptively simple. No, there is a lot of background work that has taken place for this work. So that is how we have used and combined it. All of you know exponentially weighted moving formula. So F for this is equal to F alpha, previous value, plus 1 minus alpha times the actual value. That is your EWMA formula. We use that formula to combine. That is what it is. Then for the news also we did this.
12:30.
For these 5 different sections, from the balance, from the annual report, out of this total 40, I think 30 or 35% was given for the annual report. Then balance 5% we gave it for the news extracted from LLM from different sources, which we were not able to find it in the annual report. See, annual report cannot give the whole news, you know. So what we did was, we gave about some 30% weight for the sentiment extracted from these 5 sections of the annual report, combined them. Then we have 10%. That balance 10% of the news we collected from different research companies. Then all these Motilal Oswal, all of them will give opinion or their view on that. So this is what we collected from LLM. Then we trained it also, so that has a 10% weight, because when I project it, the 10% only is available. See what is happening, I am sitting in April or May. The annual report may still come in June, it may not be available in May. Then to project it for the next 6 months, I don't have all those sections at all. Where is annual report? It has not come. So what we did is, for those 6 months, we rely on the news from different sources. And we projected this previous news using exponential. Then that fresh data, the next 6 months news, the 10% of the news, or sometimes we gave it 50%, 15% weight also. That is what was used for the prediction. Because in the next 6 months, the annual report is not available. So what we did was, there were some quarterly company briefings that we took. They give it to all the media, you know. That is what we took. Then the previous thing we took, that previous thing we projected for the next 6 months. See what is happening is, those they were annual data. So using that annual data, when you project, you get the annual value. We wanted to predict 6 months wise at a lesser scale. Because annual means anyway they may get the rating from the agency itself. Why will they wait for me? So what we did was, we have to use some type of an extrapolation thing to reduce this to a 6 months score from the annual score. Since we had only 5 years, it is very simple. You simply take a line, closest fitting line in these 4, or a cubic spline, and then project it to next one. You name it like 0, 12, 24, 48, 60, because that is how the months will come. Now for the extrapolation curve, you put 66 because that is beyond 6 months. That is how you will have to extrapolate. It is not 1, 2, 3, 4 and try to put some 6 months value. No, 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 it doesn't work like that. So you relabel them as 0, 12, 24, 36, 48, 60. 60 means 5 years. Now when I want it for 5.5, the extrapolation I am going to give a value of 66. So 66 is that 5.5 years. That is how it was done. Otherwise, it will be too coarse. And I will show you the final output. Let me show so that you will get some idea of how the final report looks like. It is an MS Word report. I did not convert to PPTs. This is how it is. Credit rating and interpretation, craftsman automation sector, that engineering. This is the report which any top management gets from this tool. That's what I am showing here. The business we have summarized. What is he doing like that? Off model, Sako. So 2017-18, what we extracted, see I have shown here. Then again 2018-19. This is a summary. This is a summary derived from LLM. Derived means our prediction plus those summaries is what we have shown you as a report. This is where we have combined those ratios. Let me EWA I am telling the 2015 to 19. We are predicting for 20. And I will compare the actual rating of 20. That is the work. It is very clear. Any top management can read it. They don't have to be any technical person or you don't need finance now. To some extent, it is little bit clear. This is the qualitative factors which we extracted. That's why I said we did it company-wise. You cannot build a single model like this. How will you build? These are all from those annual report and from the news we picked up and then summarized. This is what it is. See, finally our prediction concluded it either it will be BBB or BBB minus in the next 6 months, and the actual was BBB plus. It did not go to A or it did not land up in C or it did not land up in D. So if you simply use the financial parameters and try to build a single model for the entire industry or the group, that is what you will land. The same fellow will go to D or C then, or it will go to A plus and all. So the steps are very high. This is the actual rating and this is my prediction. This is the final report I am showing. I think I will stop here. We don't want to go into mathematics and all right now because it takes another 1 hour. So it may not be worth doing it today. It is a diverse group. Some finance, some IT, and a few more at the junior level, senior level. All of them may be sitting there. I think this is good enough for them. What type of outcome it is giving. And we cannot get this type of outcome without using LLM. There is no way you can produce a report. Much of the quantitative work we have done using the Python program. There is no point in showing that code what you will do. So afterwards we have integrated with LLM. So we have integrated that with the chat GPT. Some of those output will go to chat GPT. Now you give a prompt to chat GPT that this is what has been done, this is the projection, prepare a report, it will do it now. And we have used that retrieval augmented generation so that whenever you put a query for this company, It will take the knowledge
ये कहाँ
mostly
से आ
from
गए?
that local data, whatever
कहाँ से?
is in that PDF file
तुमने
or
क्यों खरीद
MS
ली
Word
फालतू
file
में?
or
अरे
text
यार
file,
अब अपने
etc.,
पास
etc.
है नहीं वो
And then it will
स्क्रीन में
augment the
डैमेज हो गया
query.
तो फिर खाना नहीं
Then it will
खाऊंगी
go to the
मैं।
backend. In the backend, if it is able to pick up
कांच
some
के बर्तन
additional
में।
news, it will pick
पर
up,
बोलना
and
कि
that
धूप
is
का
how the
यूज करना
final
और वो
report it
शेड्यूल
has
करी है
been.
मैंने, तुम चले जाओ 2 बजे आएगी वो। और बोलना ये पूरा भर कर दिया करो खाना।
I think I will stop here. Maybe some questions are there. I will be very happy to do. What future work we are doing is, one is scaling it up. We want to scale it up to some 2,000, 3,000 companies, because roughly about 20,000 or 30,000 are rated. But unfortunately, what is happening is, in between there are gaps, and they will say not rated, not available, like that. At least we can find out what are these NAs in between, what is happening, like that. Why did that NA came? Why did that company did not go for rating? That is one. The second benefit is, we can give it to we can an unrated company, we can approximately rate and then tell them. This basically, it is something like a scorecard. It is something like a scorecard. If something is there, let me see. Some values are there, I will just show you. This is how we compute the final score. This is our bracket. If the final score is greater than 0.75, put it into this A plus bucket. All that prediction, exponential, weighted average, smoothing, dot. Then finally you are getting a score. It is something like a scorecard, wherein you have put 0.6 times the financial score plus 0.4 times the qualitative score. This qualitative score is broken down into last 4 years of annual report, whatever we could get, plus next 6 months of news, which is our prediction interval. So 0.65 to this, it will go to BBB, 0.6 to this scale, in the rating scale. So for these 420 companies, approximately 80% of the time, we are able to predict correctly with one step down or one step up, what is the approximate rating that company would have gone if they would have gone to a rating agency like that. That is the summary. Sir, I think I will stop here, and thank you very much for providing me an opportunity to speak
Professor,
in the NASCOM.
Professor, we have a bunch of questions.
No, I will answer. Don't worry. We are
Yes.
teachers. If I
We'll
don't
take
know,
it up.
I will say I don't know. I will get back to you like that.
Okay, so let's start with the Q&A session. Nagesh is asking, how did the past few quarters earnings are considered towards ratings?
No, we took only annual. We took only from the audited balance sheet. We have not taken quarters.
Okay, Suresh Ramurthy is asking, is it also relevant to compare with peer companies to provide more wholesome rating, plus rating weightages you have chosen? Are they based on global industrial standards, or how different is
So
your
that is
approach?
it is for Indian companies. These ratings and those weights what I have shown is basically for Indian companies, but they may not vary too much. But what we have done is for Indian companies.
Okay, Raghuraj is asking, can we do it using open sourced LLMs? If yes, then how to tackle latency? What about data privacy?
Open source, what you no, he doesn't want to send the data to the cloud. That's what he is asking.
His question is, can we do it using open sourced LLMs? If yes, then how to tackle latency? What about data privacy?
Sorry, this is what exactly I answered in my previous presentation before I went to this what you call little bit outcome. See, what you do in that case, you start with a minimum parameter model, something like Llama 10 billion parameters or something, which can run on a normal server. We are not talking of GPUs. Now what you do is you load all these company annual report and other things into that. Then that is what I am telling. You will have to build an RAG pipeline. This is something called that retrieval augmented generation pipeline you build. Then what you do is you train this LLM, what you call your own local LLM. You train what I call the fine tuning. You will have to do. Then it runs on your machine. Then most of the time.
Okay, Raghuraj, I've given you, speaking access. Could you confirm if your question is answered or you have any follow up to that? Raghuraj, you can unmute yourself. Okay, I think we'll go to the next question in considering the time. Saurav is asking, did you consider earnings calls, transcripts, and news reports for the sentiment
Correct.
analysis?
That was used when I predicted for the. I told you, when I predicted for the next 6 months, that media briefing will be there, that earning call will be. That was used. It is public. It is available. So whatever is available in the public domain, we could use, and whatever private, like that interviews which these rating agencies do with the company, with the top management, like who are their suppliers, who are their competitors, what is his market share, what is their strategy for the next 2 years. They are not publicly visible in this annual report, though they vaguely mention, but it's not up to the depth. The country risk I cannot incorporate now, because we don't know who are his suppliers, from where he is getting. It is not in that. Most of the annual report, they are not openly telling who is that address, all that, where is it? It is not there. Simply they will say 30% of my semiconductor I am getting from Southeast Asia. Then what do I do with this?
Okay, the next question is by Shiv Prasad, and he is asking, would it be safe to say that we can generalize the model built when it comes to a common platform which can cut across various industry segments, for example, telecom, ICT infra, which is used by all industry segments?
No,
You want
what
me
he
to
is
repeat the
asking
question?
whether a single model can be built for all in a given industry.
I'll repeat his question. Would it be safe to say that we can generalize the model built when it comes to a common platform which can cut across various industry segments, for example, telecom, ICT infra, which is used by all industry segments?
No. The basic problem here is the rating is done company wise, sir. They are not doing it industry wise. There is nothing called an A rating for telecoms and PBB. No. It is not there. At least for the samples we have taken, I am not able to confidently answer this now. We took only 420, and some sectors are underrepresented. So since the rating is done for a company, and that too for a specific financial instrument, it is not a company. Rating is done separately for a long-term loan, rating is done separately for a fixed deposit, rating is done separately for a commercial paper. So I'm not very sure how you want to merge and then build a single model within the telecom sector or semiconductor sector or cement sector or steel, and then do it. At least I'm not very confident whether I should do that work. See, because if you give a very wrong rating, your credibility goes down. See, we have to be very careful in this work. They will say, what junk is this? This professor is telling his research. Anyway, it doesn't work at all. The basic assumption itself is wrong. We don't want to come to that stage. Because I have my own IIM Lucknow students who are in very senior positions. When I was teaching there, I must have taught about 6,000 students by now. IIM Lucknow itself, most of them are working. Even though they did not give me in writing, we had some oral conversation. They said, no, sir, probably that is not the way the rating agencies will do better. We do do company wise. We don't have a single model or anything even within the sector. That's what I heard from many of them. So that's why we did not take that path.
Okay. This is a question by Sushant Singh Pawar, and he is asking duplicacy in data when we consider banking or financial transaction. Current ETL or RDBMS query based solution have these checks not to be considered duplicate data. How in LLM learning this can be restricted? For example, if any bank or financial institution have multiple user and say for loan amount or any other account have same type or amount of transaction are happening, then it will confuse the LLM learning. How to avoid this kind of data interpretation?
No, the transaction data we don't have access. We are not taken. Probably, if we include this model accuracy, that's what I'm telling you. There is some unaccounted part of the information which we have not used. Probably, if I use it, he is correct. I may be able to increase the accuracy of this model.
अभी
For the
धोने तो
time
दो.
being,
धोने नहीं वो
it is
आएगी
an
तो धोएंगे उससे
education
पहले वो तो
institute. So
सूखे
what
हुए
all
वो
we
तो
could do
जमाने
was
हैं.
we
हाँ
could
वो
lay
तो
our
जमा लेंगे 2
hands
मिनट में.
only on what is available in the public domain.
मैंने शेड्यूल
So
करवा दिया
what
है.
he is telling is correct. So probably some unaccounted, all of them I am putting something kind of goodwill or something, what they do, or something like accounts receivable.
Okay. The next question is by Raghuraj, and he has written it in caps lock, so I wonder why. But I'll repeat the question. Can we use graph embedding models to calculate features that can help detect fraud customers in case of EWS in finance
Yes.
banks? Do you actually require labeled default customer data for composite rolling window of 90 days?
See, that's what I was telling. This work is basically for the corporate data. What he is talking is a retail type of data. It can be used. You have to augment the graph network with RAG pipeline or whatever data is available for you, because something you will not get in this. That graph can travel to quite a distance. Something like entities and the nodes. So entities will become the objects, the nodes will become the object, entities will be the chunk or the vector embeddings. Yes, it should work. That is the hybrid model what he is talking.
Okay. While I take up the next question, I've shared the social media handles of NASCOM AI. I would request everyone to connect with us there. I've also shared Professor's LinkedIn ID. So whoever wants to connect with Professor directly and have this interesting conversation going on can do that on their personal capacity. I'm sure Professor would be very happy to take it up with you one-on-one. Going to the next question is by Saurav, and he is asking, have you considered open source reasoning models like Kimi K2, Minimax, DeepSeek, etc.? Professor, I'll repeat the question.
No, I understood. What has happened is our main marathon exercise was to extract the text and then get the sentiment. Others, there was no great computation and then assign those weights. So what we have done is we extracted from 3 backends, just not to go by one. So we took ChatGPT, we took Perplexity, then I think we took Gemini. The same information was sent to all the 3, and all the 3 there were some minor differences in the sentiment after extracting. So what we did was we took the average of all these 3 backends plus our own RAG which we had put.
Okay. In the interest of time, I'll take maybe 1 or 2 more questions, but I would request everyone. Our next AI Pathshala session is in February, and the topic is quite interesting: Code to Cure: How AI is Reimagining Healthcare in R&D sector. So I would request you to, if you are interested, please register right now. Otherwise, you might forget. And also, we would request you to take up the short survey that would help us, in getting more interesting topics and running this show more efficiently. The next question is by Priya, and she is asking, how do you prevent sentiment noise from overpowering fundamentals? If we remove the qualitative Gen AI component today, what decision quality do we immediately lose? Professor, do you want to repeat the question?
Noise from sentiment
Her
noise.
question, yeah, she's asking, how do you prevent sentiment noise from overpowering fundamentals? If we remove the qualitative Gen AI component today, what decision quality do we immediately lose?
No, no, what we did was we did not rely only on one backend for the sentiment. To some extent, we have taken the average. That is something like taking the average of three experts instead of one expert. Then the second thing is your exponentially weighted moving average. When I done, depending on the alpha parameter of that exponential smoothing, it removes the noise. What for we used? Otherwise, they would have simply added all those things. We used EWMA to remove the noise. What she is mentioning. Otherwise, I can simply take an average. Oh, EWMA, what for it is used? It is a nice removal. It is a filter. It is an ARIMA filter. Actually, I think it is ARIMA 020 or ARIMA 110. I don't remember. EWMA indirectly simulates an ARIMA filter. So we hope that by tuning that ARIMA parameter, whether we should use 0.9 or 0.8 or 0.93 or whatever it is, that's what I am telling. These are all go to this fine tuning and our work. There is no theory. By reading the textbook, you will not be able to put that whether 0.9 works or something. Exponentially weighted moving average when I did, to some extent it removed that noise.
Okay, I think in the interest of time, I can take one or maybe two questions quickly. Dipendu had asked, what are your thoughts on using Gen AI for new to credit customers?
New credit.
I think the question is, what are your thoughts on using Gen AI for new credit customers? Probably there is a typo
New
error.
credit, when he means is it for that personal loan or a retail loan, or I don't know. If it is a retail loan, what happens is we will be able to, when we analyze, see, we can put some psychology type of questions to the client before sanctioning the loan. There are certain questions that can be put. Based on that, internally, I can modify his credit score rather than simply going by that Experian or FICO or like that.
Okay.
See,
The next
what
question.
I am saying is, before sanctioning the loan, don't go only by that credit score and something like age, then ratio. They are important. I am not telling. So what we can do now with this Gen AI, you ask him to answer some 15-20 questions. Now that 15-20 questions will to some extent the psychological behavior of that person, which we could not capture in this age, date of birth, salary, ratio of loan to income, tenure of the loan. These are hard parameters, they did not capture. Now what we can do, depending on the LLM or some model, this will go as an input to the LLM. Now the LLM will say, okay, reduce his credit score by 10%. So what happens is, if the CIBIL score is some 600, I am not blindly taking 600. I am reducing that 600 of this additional information, which was either in the form of a voice, or he could have filled a form. These 10 questions, those 10 questions would have come to me, and they will go to this LLM, and then LLM will give me something like a scorecard that can be built, which tells, okay, reduce this person's score by 10%. So I will take 540 as a score, not 600.
Okay, I think we will just take one last question. Speed has asked, how do you train a LLM to detect intent of the customer who is speaking the statement? For example, for collections, a loan taker may say that they do not have money, but may say it without any emotion. How do you make the model behave like a human to detect any false statements?
See, the intent means there are certain words he repeatedly uses. He keeps on complaining your support is bad, this, that, some competitor is giving. So that clearly shows that somehow he doesn't have an intention. He may have money, he may still be there, but just to avoid, I think there are certain keywords and sentences. That is what this agent may have to do. You can write an agent exclusively, it is for your company or for your loan. So what you have to do is, all these conversation you collect it over last 1 year or 2 years, and then find out whether he did not, he went to some 30 plus bucket or 60 plus bucket or 90 plus bucket. Those conversations you can link with this. Then it gives you. That is what your LLM should be put to use, which you cannot do it in a normal hardcore numbers. Agent has to be built, that agent will learn.
Okay, I think in interest of time, I will request everyone to connect with Professor directly on his LinkedIn. I've already shared the handle, and raise your questions, and I'm sure Professor will be very happy to address your questions one-on-one. I think we have to, close the session. So here comes the closing remark. We have reached the conclusion of another intriguing session of NASCOM AI Pathshala. A big thank you to everyone who joined us today's episode on financial risk assessment using GenAI. In this session, we explored how corporate credit risk assessment is undergoing a fundamental shift. While traditional ratio-based and scorecard-driven models continue to be essential, we discussed why they are no longer enough to capture early warning signals, management quality, business sentiment, and forward-looking risks embedded in unstructured data, particularly within India's lending and BFSI context. The discussion walked our participants through hands-on research and real-world industry application of Gen AI in corporate credit risk and rating prediction. Drawing insights from a published study, this session demonstrated how Gen AI-driven sentiment and quantitative analysis can significantly enhance forward-looking risk insights while reinforcing the critical role of human judgment, governance, and regulatory alignment. Further, today's conversation offered practical clarity for credit and risk professionals, BFSI practitioners, and AI analytics leaders looking to responsibly combine credit fundamentals, business intuition, and modern Gen AI techniques to build more accurate, transparent, and a future-ready assessment framework. Our sincere thanks to Professor Chandrasekhar Subramaniam for sharing his research-driven insights and grounding this emerging topic in real-world practice. A special thank you to Aditya, my partner in crime, for his continued effort in bringing such relevant learning experience to our community. Stay tuned with us on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter for the upcoming episodes of AI Pathshala and other initiatives from the NASCOM AI ecosystem. Until then, keep learning, keep questioning, and we look forward to seeing you in the next session. Thank you so much, everyone.
I think based on the questions I got, some of them have understood at least. Otherwise, they will not ask. So that way, I think to some extent, I have justified this talk. Number of questions that are coming, it clearly shows that some learning has happened. In that way, I am very happy, and they can always get in touch with me. We are teachers, so we will definitely help them in their career path also.
Thank you so much, Professor. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Aditya. I think we had a very interesting, session today. And yes, the questions were a lot. I could still not cover some of the questions. So those questions which I haven't covered, I would request them to please be in touch with Dr. Chandrasekhar on his LinkedIn handle and get in touch with him to address your queries. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you all. Thank you all for patient hearing.